Book of Heaven Volume 3 by Luisa Piccarreta. Page 67–70. April 23, 1900. Resignation is oil that salves. This morning, finding myself outside of myself, I saw my sweet Jesus suffering very much, and I prayed him to share his pains with me, and he said to me, "You too suffer. Rather, I will take your place and you will do for me the office of a nurse." So it seemed that Jesus placed himself in my bed, and I, beside him, began to check his head, removing the thorns which were driven into it one by one. Then I moved on to his body and I visited all his wounds. I dried up the blood, I kissed them, but I had nothing with which to salve them so as to mitigate the spasm, when I saw that oil was coming out from me. I took it and I salved the wounds of Jesus, but with some concern, as I did not understand what the meaning was of that oil coming out from me. But blessed Jesus made me understand that resignation to the divine will is oil which, while salving and mitigating our pains, salves and mitigates the spasm of the wounds of Jesus at the same time. Then, after performing this office for my dear Jesus for quite some time, he disappeared and I came back into myself. April 24, 1900. The Eucharist and Suffering. This morning, having received communion, it seemed to me that the confessor was placing the intention of making me suffer the crucifixion, and at that very instant I saw my guardian angel who laid me on the cross to make me suffer. After this, I saw my sweet Jesus who compassionated me and told me, "I am your refreshment, and my refreshment is your suffering." And he showed an unspeakable contentment for my suffering, and for the confessor who, by means of the obedience to suffer which he had given me, had procured this relief for him. Then he added, "Since the sacrament of the Eucharist is the fruit of the cross, I feel more disposed to concede suffering to you when you receive my body. In fact, in seeing you suffer, it seems to me that I continue my passion for the good of souls, not mystically, but really, and this is a great relief for me, because I collect the true fruit of my cross and of the Eucharist." After this, he said, "Up until now it was obedience that made you suffer. Do you want me to amuse myself a little by renewing again in you the crucifixion with my own hands?" And I, though I felt great suffering and, still fresh, the pains of the cross which had been renewed in me, said, "Lord, I am in your hands, do with me whatever you want." So, all content, Jesus again began to drive the nails into my hands and feet. I felt such intensity of pain that I myself do not know how I remained alive, but I was content because I was making Jesus content. Then, after he bent the nails, placing himself near me, he began to say, "How beautiful you are! But how much more does your beauty grow in your suffering? Oh, how dear you are to me! My eyes are wounded in looking at you, because they see my very image in you." And he said many other things, which it would be useless to repeat. First, because I am bad. Second, because not seeing myself as the Lord tells me, I feel confusion and blushing in saying these things. But I hope that the Lord will make me truly good and beautiful, and then, as my blushing would fade, I will be able to describe them. So I stop here. April 25, 1900. Purity in operating is light. As I was in my usual state and not finding my sweet Jesus, I had to go around very much to go in search of him. Finally I found him in the arms of the Queen Mama, suckling milk from her breasts. As much as I said and did, he did not seem to pay attention to me, or rather, he did not even look at me. Who can say the pain of my poor heart, in seeing that Jesus was not paying attention to me? Then, after I gave vent to my tears, having compassion for me, he came into my arms and poured from his mouth a little bit of that milk which he had suckled from the Queen Mama. After this, I looked into his breast, and he had a little pearl, so refulgent as to invest the most holy humanity of our Lord with light. Wanting to know the meaning of it, I asked Jesus what that pearl was, which, while appearing so small, spread so much light. And Jesus, "It is the purity of your suffering which, though small, is the cause of so much light, because you suffer only for love of me and would be ready to suffer more if I conceded it to you. My daughter, purity in operating is so great, that one who operates with the sole purpose of pleasing me alone, does nothing other than spread light from all of his operating. One who does not operate in an upright way, even in good, is nothing other than spread darkness. Then I looked into the breast of our Lord, and he had a most clear mirror, and it seemed that those who walked in an upright way remained completely absorbed in that mirror, while those who did not, remained outside, without being able to receive any imprint of the image of blessed Jesus. Ah, Lord, keep me all absorbed in this divine mirror, that I may have no other shade of intention in my operating.